International law can go screw because it's the most useless pile of crap that ever was conceived by man or anyone else. It's ridiculous. There is no such thing as international law. There are just international interests.
What? So, Ben Shapiro is losing his shit all over again, this time over the meeting Trump had with Mamdani, because how dare Trump meet with an anti-Semite? Not minding that anti-Semite here is totally based on Ben Shapiro's demented definitions. You have to wonder at the mental state of someone who takes issues with a very productive meeting that Trump had with Mamdani on how to better the lives of Americans. Ben Shapiro is so hung up on the welfare of Israel that he probably forgets that he's talking to an American audience. Why is it that whenever American political leaders come together for the betterment of America, Ben Shapiro has an issue with it and then makes it about Israel? It's no longer a question of where Ben's loyalties lie. They definitely lie with Israel, using a famous rhetoric that Ben and his right-wing nuts like to use. If you don't like it in America, you can leave, preferably to Israel. Why is Ben having a fit week after week when he could simply move to Israel and be at peace? So after the Mamdani-Trump meeting, Ben is back trying to get Americans to hate each other again. And the reason this time, you've guessed, is because of Israel.
The Zohran Mamdani continues his unbroken record of virtue signaling to the worst people in America. So one of the big controversies that has broken out in New York is that just the other night, a bunch of anti-Semites, and I use that word advisedly because of what they were yelling, gathered outside of an Orthodox congregation. What were they protesting? There's a group called Nefesh B'Nefesh in Israel that facilitates for people who want to move to Israel. If you're in England, America, wherever, they help facilitate your move to Israel.
For the context that Ben Shapiro totally left out, there was a protest against a Jewish organization helping force Palestinians off their land and encouraging American Jews to settle in Palestinian homes. Zohran calls that organization out for breaking international law. Ben Shapiro loses it and begins to attack international law, calling it useless. First, he denies such atrocities were happening and perhaps recognizing quickly that it was too obvious to deny, and knowing that such actions are against international law, he just leaned into it and said, fuck international law. Who gives a shit about international law? We can do as we please. Yet, Ben and his Zionist gangs base the existence of Israel on the UN petition and acts of international law.
So how did Zohran Mamdani respond to the anti-Semitism? These sacred spaces should not be used to promote activities in violation of international law. That is an insane statement. Nothing that was happening in the synagogue violates international law. First of all, there are a few problems. One, international law can go screw because it's the most useless pile of crap that ever was conceived by man or anyone else. It's ridiculous. There is no such thing as international law. There are just international interests.
What Ben is saying here is we only respect international law when it's in our interests. When it's not, who gives a shit? Okay, Ben, let's agree that international law doesn't exist, only international interests. Why are you so mad that Mamdani is pushing his own international interests? It's such a demented thing to say that international law is useless, because the day might come when it will be in the interests of those in power to see the demise of the state of Israel. And because Ben Shapiro has destroyed and dismissed international law, there would be nothing, no principle to protect Israel. Ben thinks might is right. What he forgets is that power doesn't reside in one place forever. To quote a comment I saw recently, the American left is unified on the principle of respect for human rights and international law, while the American right is unified on America first. Both are fundamentally against the interests of Israel. When the US finally abandons Israel, I like to see the look on Ben Shapiro's face when he's reminded that international law is useless when he tries to invoke it to protect Israel.